What are we, a shade under 5 months of the Biden administration, and we are currently running out of things that Trump was right on to be proven correct. Like honestly. You remember, okay, I'll bring it up again, the presidential debates. Oh man, he had those peaceful protesters just taken out from in front of that church just for a photo op. Trump hails exoneration after watchdog finds D.C. Lafayette Park was not cleared for Bible photo op. Oops! Yeah, everybody who had eyes at the time knew that this was the case, but the party who keeps saying that the Republicans and Trump keep saying the big lie over and over again are the ones who have perfected the craft. An internal government investigation found no evidence that protesters were forced out of the park, even though, because it was an internal government investigation, you knew desperately they didn't want to have to side with Trump on this one. Near the White House last year to clear way for then President Donald Trump to pose for photos outside a graffiti church. Oh, but he's holding the Bible upside down. And that's not how books work, stupid. Thank you for the Department of the Interior Inspector General for completely and totally exonerating me in clearing of Lafayette Park, the 45th president said. Interior Department Inspector General Mark Lee Greenblatt Oive released a 37-page report Wednesday and said the violent clear-out at Lafayette Park had nothing to do with Trump's photo op. Exactly. Concluding that the contractor installed anti-scale fencing in response to destruction of property and injury to officers the previous 2 days was instead to blame. Yeah, you don't say. Wanting to clear up their neighborhoods that were besieged by peaceful protesters somehow resulted in a clear-out just so Trump could pose in front of a church midday. Like, even if there were rioters out there, I think the military or the police or whoever would be competent enough to clear those people out, even if we're going to play in this hypothetical, they had every right to move those people who were breaking the fucking law, be able to clear them out of there. I think that that's within their purview, but it's nice that Trump was once again proven correctly. And yeah, the only other thing that I can think that Trump was very vocal about, that continued to get rebuked by the fair, honest, balanced, authoritative sources in the media, were like sanctuary cities. Like, we know of everybody who's been, raped and killed, like the one lady in San Francisco or San Diego. I don't remember the story exactly, but yeah, an MS-13 gang member that crossed the border illegally, raped and killed a girl, and was in and out of jail. And didn't end up going to jail for that and just ended up maybe getting deported. But sanctuary cities are a goddamn disaster, needless to say. But this is from Reuters. What are sanctuary cities and why is Trump targeting them? U.S. Republican President Donald Trump has intensified his administration's fight in recent weeks against Democratic-led sanctuary districts that limit cooperation with federal immigration enforcement. Okay, we've heard everything about sanctuary cities, so specifically, what are they? Let's figure out exactly what these terms mean, because as much as the opposition at this point, I don't know what to call them, the authoritarian Democrats, the bad faith actors out there, I don't know what it is. However, they want to warp this, as they do that with any type of terminology that they want to hold over your head. So let's figure out exactly what sanctuary cities are. The sanctuary movement dates back to the 1980s, when U.S. churches sheltered Central American migrants who fled civil strife in the region and feared deportation. Okay, that's what they were originally intended for. Okay, using obviously the First Amendment, right to religious expression and gathering. Okay, that's fine in the 80s. And okay, if they're all coming up from Central America, the way that amnesty works, the way that seeking asylum works, is you have to go to the nearest country that isn't currently experiencing any sort of civil unrest or a civil war or just a conflict within their country. Most of the people that come out have to go through Mexico, and what's the war that's currently going on in Mexico? I don't think that there is any, so shouldn't they be stopping there? Oh, no, it's not about fleeing any sort of war zone. No, it's all about trying to get into the United States in order to leech off the ever-growing welfare state. But this is another example of the slippery slope, okay? It was just churches sheltering migrants fleeing conflict. And now it's entire cities Now it's entire states, and we'll get to that shortly. The label is now generally applied to states and localities that have laws, policies, or regulations that make it harder for ICE to track down and arrest immigrants they believe are deportable. Yeah, the ones that illegally come here and commit crimes, imagine that. Oh, but he was just a good man and he just wanted to follow the American dream. Yeah, he still crossed the border illegally. Sucks to suck. One of the most high-profile sanctuary policies is opposition to the prolonged detention of suspected immigration law violators in state or local custody. ICE can request that such deportations be held for up to 48 hours beyond their release time, which allows ICE officers to take a person into custody. Such requests are known as detainers. 10 states have measures in place to restrict compliance with detainers' requests, deny ICE access to jails, or limit communication with ICE, according to the lists compiled by the Center for Immigration Studies, a group that advocates lower levels of immigration. More than 150 counties and cities have their own sanctuary measures, according to the groups. And just an on-the-fly poll. Don't you guys think, I don't know, what would you think the crime rates of these sanctuary cities are? Do you think that they're higher or lower than the rest of the population? Oh, I'll just let you guys connect the dots and make your own assumptions out there because, yeah, guess what? They're going to be true. Some officials in non-cooperative jurisdictions argue that the requests are voluntary and honoring them could mean detaining people without a constitutionally valid reason. What? Illegally coming into the country? That's somehow not constitutionally valid? Cool, bro. Nice excuse. Do sanctuary cities shield immigrants from deportation? Federal immigration officers still operate in sanctuary districts, but with less assistance from local law enforcement. Uncooperative jurisdictions send fingerprints of anyone booked into prison or jail to the FBI, which passes them on to ICE for an immigration status check, according to an ICE spokeswoman. And it's the FBI taking these fingerprints, so don't be too terribly shocked if most of them end up falling off the truck on the way over there. ICE contends that knowing the release date of suspected immigration violator make them harder to arrest and deport that person and puts officers in danger. The agency also argues that it should be allowed to enter jails to pick up suspects in secure settings. Yes, that sounds like a great idea. And okay, ICE contends that not knowing the release date of suspected immigration violators can make it harder to arrest and deport that person. Yeah, that's why you should get rid of that 48-hour buffer. You verify that they're not here legally. Yeah, get them the fuck out. Pack your shit and fuck off. You're not allowed to be here. It's like if you come home after work and you realize that somebody's squatting in your living room, you know, got the feet kicked up, the shoes kicked off, watching television. You got to give them 48 hours before somebody comes in and potentially maybe forcibly removes them. Yeah, it seems fair, right? So no, can they? I don't know. Potentially if the FBI does their job, and we all know how fucking good they are doing that. I don't care why some jurisdictions enact sanctuary policies, mostly because they're democratically controlled and they're fucking retards. And as we're finding out right now with the border crisis going on right now, Arizona's kicking up their border defense, Texas very much so. But then there's one state in the middle of the country that's deciding, you know what, we're an entire sanctuary state, and you know what, instead of deporting lawbreakers, we're just gonna give them identification. Colorado, oh my god, which was once probably a great place. Denver sounded like a really cool place to live, literally and figuratively, with their creepily massive airport, which is a story for another time. I don't know, it got that, it bared the brunt of that Californication that was going on. Them, New Mexico, some of the early sanctuary cities for some California residents fleeing the high taxes that they voted for, only to continue their same voting practices and turn Colorado and New Mexico into the same shitholes that they left, only to now move over to Utah. Good luck there. And then, I don't know, try to pollute Texas, but this Biden administration is doing a great job of reversing that. But what are they doing right now? Well, sanctuary state Colorado to give professional licenses to illegal aliens. Why? Sanctuary state of Colorado will begin allowing illegal aliens to obtain professional licenses, funneling them into white-collar American jobs. That's exactly what you need to do, right? I don't know how well Mexicans, Guatemalans, El Salvadorians fare in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado, but if they're anything like Filipinos, you guys are probably in for quite a good influx of very hard and dedicated workers. Might not be too bad. This week, Governor Jared Polis finally got a hold of himself and stopped literally shaking to sign into law a plan that will give out professional licenses for jobs in education and healthcare. Democrats looking after their own, among other industries, to illegal aliens. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg, when he wasn't too busy, you can probably see it just above my head, throwing spears, chucking axes, shooting guns, pretending and trying to show off to people on camera that he's actually not a robot and he might be a real boy someday if he dreams hard enough about it. But he lobbied state lawmakers to pass the legislation because that cheap labor, oh boy, it's getting a little bit more expensive in these democratically controlled places. So if you could just do them more real solid, guys, don't worry, he'll share with you where he keeps the Ark of the Covenant. Now, Colorado state agencies will not require an applicant to certify their legal status in the United States to secure a professional license, but you still have to do it if you want to vote there because they have some of the strictest mail-in voting laws. Funny. The bill eliminates the requirement that the Department of Education verify the lawful presence of each applicant before issuing or renewing a license. The law reads, fuck off. The bill also specifies that lawful presence is not required of any applicant for any state or local license, certificate, or registration. The bill affirmatively states that the bill is a state law within the meaning of the federal law that gives states authority to provide for eligibility for state and local public benefits to persons who are unlawfully residing in the United States. Oh, and here's somebody who would be totally impartial on the process. Forward.us Colorado State Immigration Director Marissa Molina praised the legislature's passing of Polis's signing, claiming it will help fill worker shortages. Yeah, by importing illegal immigrants instead of looking after Americans. Oh my god. Yeah, buy American, build back better. You know, all of those fun slogans, but then when the rubber hits the road, it's cheap labor for all. You gotta love neolibs. Always got a fucking neolib. Jersey passed similar legislation last year and nobody still wants to live there. Today, there are anywhere between 11 million and 22 million illegal aliens living in the United States, costing Americans about 134 billion annually, but it's going to fill jobs shortages, lol. About 8 million holding American jobs, nearly 200,000 illegal aliens reside in Colorado. Well, potentially we're going to be able to find more, but then at the same time they'd have to give up their welfare benefits, so it's fucking weird, right? Well, we'll see what goes on. I don't know, how many months do you give this one to backfire in order for Trump to be proven right again about sanctuary cities and states? 2, 3, 4, maybe through the end of the year? Something like that, I suppose. But let's leave the United States for a minute. We'll head on up to Canada because they really hate freedom of any form or fashion. And I'll just allow you guys to glimpse into the future and hopefully give you a little insight in order to save yourselves at the expense of an tyrannical government that isn't going anywhere anytime soon. I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.